Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile, Scala with Pop XP. And guess what? We're at it again. Another night with the most amazing Frank. That's amazing. He's an amazing guy. He goes by Frank Amazing, and he's one of the best darn amazing co-hosts I've ever had. Frank Amazing, how you doing?
Good. We're like peanut butter and jelly here.
I know, it's just all sticky and gooey, and everyone wants to eat us up. Sure. But I'll tell you, man, each time we do this, I'm adding more amazings to that intro because you're just freaking amazing, bro.
I find amazing projects. That's my job.
It. Amazing projects. And we're here with another one for all you lovely viewers. And before we get started, I mean, this is something unique, something we've never had on the show before.
We haven't delved into it.
And yes, definitely. And I think it's something that's cool and something that we'll all enjoy because it just shows you the gamut of different projects from the same type of creators that we normally have on the show, but going in different directions. And at a time when people are just so uncertain with things, you know, they don't know if up is down, if down is up, if blue is green, if it's the ocean's blue, the sky, who knows what's going on, right? But one thing we know is there's great content out there and there's still great things to back, support, and entertain us. Yep. You know, I'm gonna start this one off a little different, Mr. Frank.
Reading can obviously be very frustrating for children with dyslexia.
But in today's local story, we learn about a super comic book writer making it easy for those kids to read his comic books.
I think comics are a great way for dyslexics to read and practice their reading because, one, they can do it away from school, away from a stress environment, because to a young dyslexic, nothing is more terrifying than reading before the class.
My sister's a Girl Scout troop leader, and it was a situation where she just said, hey, my daughters want the book, and also we have a kid in the group that has dyslexia. Have you ever thought about using dyslexia-friendly fonts? And I was like, I didn't even know that's a thing. Junior high horrors, like I said, all ages horror parody. It's really made for adults and kids alike. Horror fans that grew up with horror movies like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street will be drawn to this book. It uses a font called Open Dyslexic, which is an open source font, so anybody can actually use it. It is set up with a bunch of the cues to allow it to help folks with dyslexia actually be able to read it easier. So when you look at the font, you'll notice different weighting of the letters. For example, the letter D, when you see that in the lowercase form, you'll see that it's got a tail on it, but it also has a weighting at the bottom. But when you look at the B, which could be easily turned around by someone with dyslexia, it doesn't have the tail on it. So even though it does still have the weight, it doesn't have the tails. If you know that one's a B or a D, you understand that even if it turns around, it's still that letter. The comic book store that we're in right now, Fight or Flight Comics, one of the owner-managers, Daniel, has dyslexia. So he was one of the first people that I actually brought the comic to actually show it to him when it came out.
I think comics are a great way for dyslexics to read and practice their reading because, one, they can do it away from school, away from a stress environment, because to a young dyslexic, nothing is more terrifying than reading before the class. And one of the coping mechanisms for dyslexia is repetition and rereading. So comic books are a lot more fun to reread and practice on than, say, I don't know, Wuthering Heights. It's really great to tell a young customer who's dyslexic about this book. You know, I mean, come on, it's junior high horrors. I mean, look at this stuff. It's just fun. It's goofy.
What I love is when I'm sitting at like a convention and I have a teacher come up to me, and the first thing they see when they see the backdrop is they're like junior high horrors. I'm a middle school teacher. This already sounds great. Now with the dyslexia friendly stuff, the teachers, as I start explaining that to them, just sit there and their eyes get really wide when I'm talking to them about it. They're now sitting there saying, man, maybe I should make my syllabus have the dyslexia-friendly fonts. So, you know, just seeing how teachers have responded, see how kids have responded. I mean, I've had teachers tear up sitting there and talk about it with me because they just know that someone's actually actively doing something for them.
Man, that's incredible. So everyone, please welcome Rob Potchak. Rob, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. Thank you so much for having me on here, and thanks to the folks at ABC and Localish for putting that whole thing together. We are the first comic book to be dyslexia friendly, and it's pretty interesting that the home of Disney, Marvel, and everything else with ABC were the guys that actually decided to put that out on the air for us.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's
awesome. To have the local media, support and, help do that. I mean, I think that's the first that we've ever seen that before.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about that.
That was actually national media. So that was ABC in general. So that aired in Sacramento, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, all over the place. It was pretty awesome. So not to throw you off there, Frank, but
that's incredible,
awesome
Rob.
Stuff.
I didn't know anything about the whole dyslexia fonts and anything like that with the books, which I think is pretty cool. I had no clue that even existed, and to have this book, your book, and have it set up that way. I mean, that's great. Especially, my wife's a teacher, and I hear the struggles some kids have, and that's just one of those things that's really cool because, like the video said, you can go and practice reading at home alone. There's insecurities involved when you have this disorder, and this is kind of you're providing a tool that will help them practice reading and hopefully build up their confidence, as they grow and try to live with dyslexia. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, no, it's one of those awesome things that, like the video shows, it's something where it got brought to my attention, and, we do an all ages book anyway. So it was something where we thought, why not try to help younger audiences just, if they're having struggles reading, have something out there that helps them do it.
Awesome, man. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself, for our viewers out there that are watching this, give us a little bit of your origin story. How did you get into comics?
My origin story. Well, after a radioactive after a radioactive comic book bit me in the behind. So I've been a lifelong comic book fan. I've when I was 13 years old, I don't quite have the Jim Shooter story where, I was editing comics and writing everything and selling ideas to Marvel or anything. But I basically said I wanted to be a comic book writer. My artistic talent isn't Jim Lee or anything like that. So I didn't think that there would be the ability to sit there and do my own artistic side of comics, but I knew that I wanted to be part of it. And I matched up with a group called Keen Spot, based out of California. I'm in North Carolina, but based on the internet and everything else, we've been able to put some projects together. Started with a book called Immortal, and then I basically came up with this idea of what if you took all your favorite horror icons and turned them into 12-year-old kids, and they had to go through the daily craziness of being in middle school. So you get with junior high horrors, you get the double entendre of the name, both being horror characters, but also being in the middle schools and actually dealing with the horror of that.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool concept. And so we have you here today because you have your comic book, but now you also have a coloring book, an all ages coloring book.
Yeah, so Eric Kent, the artist, and myself, we went to Keen Spot and we said, without anything like conventions or a lot of books actually shipping out the way that they were in the past, we were wondering if with Keen Spot's approval that we'd be able to go ahead and put together a coloring book, because with it being an all ages book in the first place, we kind of thought that we'd play on the whole parody side of it, where you have all these adult coloring books now, and we said, hey, what if we did an all ages coloring book, so that not only is it still playing on all the junior high horror stuff of both being for kids and adults, but now do a coloring book with the same idea.
Now, is it for this coloring book, is there a story with it in the coloring book, or is it just different pages that you can color in?
So it takes place throughout the entire 8-issue run of Junior High Horrors, but we took our favorite pieces from it and kind of just flowed them in there. We may still add a little bit of story moments in there, but for the most part, we've got about 26 splash pages, covers, and different things that we kind of felt that our audience would like to relieve stress on themselves by putting their coloring artistry to the test.
Yeah. What I like about this is, for the older population, it's very nostalgic when watching the video. You see the horror classic, 80s horror characters and posters and everything like that. I mean, when you were showing the video, like I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, I saw, Jason, so it's great to see that, because I remember as like a teenager, there came a point where it's like Fangoria magazine, let me like read all of that. So, but here's a way where you can have that nostalgia, but also combine it with, for your children, in a safe fashion where, they're not seeing, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
So you're not wrong. In fact, the first horror convention that one of my artist buddies and I went to, we were sitting there just, and when people would see that 4 or 9 foot tall by 4.5 foot wide junior high horrors banner, they're like, okay, I need to know about this. And at one point I had a mom with like 3 kids walk up, and she's carrying the youngest child, probably 2.5, maybe 3 years old. And they walk up, and the baby looks and points and goes, "Mommy, can I get the one that's got Michael Myers on the cover?" And immediately, like the mom looks, she looks a little bit like I'm not quite sure. And then she goes, "You absolutely can," because she just knew that, this at a horror convention, everybody that goes there is going to be involved. So when you bring your children, how many other items in there are going to be something that your kids should really be looking at? Yeah. And we were able to, really able to maximize a brand new audience by doing that.
Oh, and then what did your publisher think of the whole taking the pages from the actual comic book series and making it a coloring book? Were they ecstatic about the idea?
So he basically said, if this does really well, we're going to go ahead and possibly put it into bookstores, because we just did sign an agreement with Simon & Schuster for bookstore distribution. But we don't want to necessarily jump right into saying, hey, let's go ahead and solicit a coloring book through Simon & Schuster as one of your first projects, unless you know that it's going to be successful. And I've kind of bucked the trend with just about everything that I've done with them. He's given a little pushback from time to time and been like, I don't know if you know your audience, and I've always kind of proved him wrong. So we're really hoping, we're already at 52% backed. We're hoping to get ourselves 100% backed on the project. And if we do, then, maybe the sky's the limit, and we actually see the all ages coloring book in, Walmart's, Barnes and Nobles, on Amazon, whatever the case might be later on down the line.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the things that I also like about this, and I didn't realize it until you read the description, but there are the options of PDF, and you really don't think about it, because in comic format, it's like, oh, I have a PDF of the comic. But here, it has so much more purpose, where I can print out the pages as long as I want. Kid messes up, hey, guess what? I'll print you another page. Oh, I want to color that too. I print the other page. So that's a really awesome concept that this plays perfectly for the comics.
Or for a digital colorist. Here you can the kid can color, or even an adult can color on their iPad or whatever they want. They import the image in. So their coloring software.
Yeah, it's funny because a couple of my friends, first when they saw the PDF being an option on it, they were like, why do people do that? And I'm like, it's a coloring book, guys. Like, if a teacher buys one copy of the PDF for their class, they can sit there and print it out for every single student. Yeah. I'm not saying, hey, you only get to print it out this many times. No, I want the property out there. I want people to see it. I want people to use it. One of our favorite audiences are middle school teachers, because they constantly say that kids want horror elements, but they don't have anything horror out there for them besides like Goosebumps. So this is something that's totally made for them. I mean, from time to time, I even take my nephew, who's 15, and ask him like what's going on in middle school, and he sits there and starts telling me like there's a chocolate milk fight going on, Uncle Rob. And I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden that issue of Junior High Horrors would have the chocolate milk fight. So now you may actually get to color the chocolate milk fight.
Yeah.
So how long has this series been going on?
So we started in what are we in 2020? I keep forgetting because no one wants to remember this year. We started in September of, I believe, 2018.
Okay.
And we've put out 10 issues over the time. They were coming out every other month. This past week on the 12th, we actually did have our April Fool special finally hit stores. It was definitely something that the pandemic ended up causing some pushback on. If anybody wants to, they can cross out April and just write August. I'm completely fine with that. I don't think that's going to negatively affect the value of the comic. But we've got some new projects that we're also trying to work on, other new Junior High Horrors books that are coming up. Like we're doing a Stranger Things parody. If you go to Eric's Instagram, Eric L. Kent, you can actually see like his work in progress on his cover for it. It'll probably be out in January of next year. But this kind of, with not having the convention scene and everything else where we really hope to meet new people and everything else, this is something that allows us to kind of try to get some property out there so that people can continue to see Junior High Horrors in its element and go from there.
That's cool. Now, where can people get copies of Junior High Horrors? Because it seems like it'd be cool maybe if they purchase, the books prior and then also enjoy the coloring book, as they get to know the characters and understand the pages they're seeing.
Nile, totally true there. You can actually either pick them up in your local comic book shop if they actually carry Junior High Horrors already. A lot of times we will be in the young adult section or the all ages section, so you can look there. If for whatever reason your comic shop doesn't have it, you can go to keenspotshop.com /collections/Rob Potchak or /Junior High Horrors. We're on both of those. We're also on Comixology, and we just hit Comixology Unlimited. So now anybody out there that for whatever reason cannot find physical copies of the books, they are all available on Comixology Unlimited and Comixology. But we definitely want to support the comic shops first. So go to your local comic shop. Most issues are still available through Diamond. If they can't get them any other way, they can still order. The comic shops can still order them and get them back ordered into the stores.
And we will provide the links in the description that you've provided for us, so viewers can click those links as well.
Yeah,
awesome. I know I like to talk fast, so
yeah, we'll push it through our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook. We'll continue to push this along. Now, besides Junior High Horrors, I mean, do you work on any other properties?
Yeah, so I have worked on a comic book that came out last year called X Liefelds. It was basically if you took Rob Liefeld's ideas of the 90s, your Deadpool, Cable, and Domino, and how popular they were. We have to assume that he created some characters that weren't so popular. And that was kind of their story. So after talking with him at WonderCon last year, I got the approval to sit there and play around with it. That came out last year. And now I'm also working on two other books. One that I can go ahead and say is the second trade of Immortal, which is about a 700-year-old woman who is on the quest to find Thor's hammer. It's kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Highlander. So that one's kind of in early production right now. As I mentioned, another book for Junior High Horrors is coming probably in January of next year. So I've got a couple different projects going. And then with the Indiegogo, one thing that I've been doing is for every 5 backers we actually hit on the project, we've been doing special prize packs and stuff. So people that that may be picking the book up for the first time or picking up the coloring book for the first time can actually win some prizes. And I've been mailing those out as the winners have been announced. So one of the things that we actually had me do, I went ahead and I drew a Frederick the Scaredy Cat today on my live stream. And so he's going to be, we're going to be announcing him and who gets to win that piece of art, as well as a prize pack here in a couple days. But as of right now, I believe we're at just under 30 backers. So as soon as we hit 30, we're going to be doing that again. And this time the artist of the actual comic, Eric Kent, is going to be doing doing one of the pieces as well. So someone will get something really cool to take home.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool to do giveaways and just kind of, more incentive to back a book, help support it. There's that the lottery, right? A lot of, even guys like Brian Polito, who, I say crack the code with crowdfunding, they throw in those giveaways, every campaign, only select people get a few special items, and it's, of the draw, which is great. But so this is really cool. This is our first coloring book that we've ever had on the show, and I hope to see more stuff like this. I really do, because we need to have more things bringing in younger readers, and captivating younger readers. Even and the dyslexia friendly thing, like I said, I think is great.
Yeah,
it's bringing in more readers, more comic book fans. So what you're doing, dude, is incredible. It really is.
Yeah, the dyslexia friendly thing, I kind of started looking at it and I was like, why isn't this something that comics are doing more of? So we actually created little like danglers and stuff for in comic shops in case other books wanted to start using it. Created the little font and the logo for it so that way if other all ages books or anything wanted to use it, they could put it on their spines or they could put it on the covers. We try to make sure that it's in the top third of the cover. That way if you're in one of the old-fashioned comic things that only show like the top third of your book, you still actually see that logo on there, just to make sure that people see it all the time and know that it's catering to a different audience.
Yeah, no, incredible. Well, hey, man, Rob, thanks so much for coming on the show. Thanks for educating us on the whole fact that dyslexia friendly fonts and everything, because as creators, I didn't even know that existed. And I hope this opens up doors for other creators that are going to watch this, and even fans that may themselves or siblings or relatives or friends who have the story say, hey, there's books out there that can help our kids, as they're growing and developing. I'm honored to have you on the show to open my eyes to this. This is fantastic. Yeah. And to have another all ages friendly book out there is another thing I'd like to see more and more. And we try to get, I tell Frank all the time, when you're going through looking at campaigns or things, try to see what we've got there. Try to get a good, variety.
Not just adults.
Friendly, not just adult stuff and things like that. So very cool. Like I said, we'll continue help pushing this for you to get you funded. We'll be pushing it on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and hopefully we can help assist you reach that goal of 2,500. And I urge all you viewers out there that if you can help Rob and his team get the junior high horse all ages coloring book out there, share it on your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitters, push it. Let's get these things out here. These are good things. These are things we need, because you know what? The big two, the larger publishers, they're not putting stuff like this out there. This is what helps grow our industry. This is what helps makes our industry more diverse. This is the type of diverse stuff we need out there. And this is what's going to help sustain and grow this industry. So Rob, awesome. I love this.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much just for letting me be a part of your program and everything, and thank you for all the kind words. I mean, we've put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of work into making this both just the best comic book it can be, and then obviously with this INDIEGOGO crowdfunding program, making sure that we are doing everything we can to really deliver on our promise of trying to put out great content.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy the crowdfunding route. Also, any other projects you have going on, stuff that's going through your publisher, things you're doing, if you ever want to come back on the show to promote those, so, the new book coming out or any of your new books or projects, just shoot Frank an email and we'll get you back on the show. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Love the show and keep up all the great work.
All right. You do the same. Thanks, Rob. Have a good night. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.